It seems you guys are still interested in learning about the differences between amber and ambergris. Now recently I did a video focusing on animalic fragrances and I listed 5 animalic notes which included ambergris, and you guys wrote to me and asked me what the differences are between ambergris and amber, or amber and ambergris. And they are completely different. They come from completely different places, and I'll tell you all about it. Also, I want to let you know about my latest t-shirt I had mentioned in the animalic fragrances video. This one's all about ambergris. As you can see, it's a quirky take on ambergris, ambergris alert. And you can see the whale poop. Basically, that's what ambergris is. It's excreted and washed up on shore and collected, and a very, very expensive ingredient in perfumery. That's why they have ingredients or notes that are created synthetically called ambroxan to, replicate the smell of ambergris. Anyway, today in this video we're going to find out what the differences are between amber and ambergris, and also let you know about fragrances that feature ambers or ambergris. If you're curious to learn about amber versus ambergris, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today it's all about amber versus ambergris. What are they? What are the differences? Where do they come from? I'll tell you all about it. But before we do that, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So first of all, I want to let you know that there is an amber resin out there called Pinus sucinifera. That is actually what amber is. It's a resin, and it looks kind of golden ambery colored honey, just a golden orangey kind of color. That is sometimes used to create this amber smell, but in modern perfumery and current perfumery, most of the amber fragrances are created by combining multiple different notes to create this amber accord. So when you go to places, the databases, to look up a fragrance and you see amber listed, most of the time, I think it's 99% of the time, it's fragrances featuring multiple notes to create this amber accord. So what is an amber note? Or what is an amber accord? So the amber note does not exist in nature, but it's created by mostly combining several ingredients from nature. And those ingredients can include resins, can include balsams, can include vanilla, can include spices, and of course, sometimes tonka beans as well. Now, the resins could include the labdanum, which is the rock rose. And rock rose at one point, or I think it might still be used for medicinal purposes. But currently, it is one of the main or focal ingredients to create the amber accord. But sometimes, in addition to that resin, you can also include resins such as benzoin, styrax, maybe sometimes even myrrh. Those are all ingredients or notes that can go into creating the amber accord. There's more, but what is labdanum, you may ask? I have a full video on labdanum done, and actually a whole video on resins and balsams done with Dana. If you're curious to learn more about it from her perspective, you can. But labdanum is a resin obtained from the shrubs of the labdanum plant, the rock rose plant, and that is what's turned into this pasty, sticky, kind of brownish resin that's used in perfumery. When I smell labdanum resin on its own, it's very gummy, it's very sticky, but it's also very smoky and sweet, and it's a great smell, a wonderful smell. Now, if you've ever walked around and hiked around, you've seen the rock rose plant. Pick a leaf, smell it. It's kind of sort of like that. It's a great smell, by the way. So there's also Tolu Balsam and Peru Balsam that sometimes can be used to combine with the other notes to create the amber accord. And so these are all different notes and ingredients that can be used to create this amber accord. And you know this about me. This is one of my favorite notes, but now we've learned that it's not really a note, it's an accord. But this is one of my favorite styles of fragrances, the Oriental accord, basically combining those notes I told you. I love Oriental fragrances. If it includes the resins, the vanilla, the balsams, and all of that combined together, it's a wonderful concoction, a very warm and gooey concoction. So that's the amber accord or amber note. And what's the difference between ambergris? So ambergris itself is actually a whale excretion, like the whale poop. As I showed you in my t-shirt here, the whale poops, and that is washed up on shore But you know what? I think what happens is it gathers other ingredients or things along the way, and then it's washed up. Because I've seen chunks that go up this big. So it can be huge. Just look up ambergris on Google and you'll see different people holding up ambergris that they found. It's very, very expensive. So it's basically a byproduct of the whale. And it's excreted, washed up, and, you know, found. I don't know. I guess there are people that go and look for them, and this is their business. But I'm assuming they're going to waste so much time, not waste, but, you know, put in a lot of time trying to find these ambergris, wash up ambergris, whatever you call these, the ambergris. But I don't want to be in that business because I feel like you have to be lucky to find them. I mean, I'm sure those people know where to look for them, but you know, normal people have found this and they've sold them for hundreds and thousands of dollars. So it's very, very expensive. The ambergris is, and also that's why they have the synthetic forms of ambergris like ambroxan. Now, for me, ambergris and ambroxan do not smell alike. In fact, they don't smell alike to me at all. Minute similarities, but they perform alike. Does that make sense to you guys? So in the end, their smell is not so close to the original stuff. The ambroxan, to me, does not smell like ambergris. It doesn't, but they perform, or in fact, the way they're used in perfumery acts like ambergris. So that's a good thing. It doesn't have to smell alike, it just as long as it kind of like replicate the actual ambergris experience. So ambroxan is used in place of ambergris, but you know, there are fragrances that do say that they use real ambergris, and I'm going to tell you some of them here today, and those are the real things. And you know, ambergris is animalic, ambroxan is not. I can totally tell the difference between ambergris and animalic. For me, I absolutely love ambers. Amber fragrances are some of my favorite styles because it's the Oriental Accord. It's basically the note or notes to go in to create this Oriental Accord. Ambergris, on the other hand, I can tolerate little amounts of it. I don't need to have a full-on ambergris bomb because it could get totally animalic, as I said. And animalic fragrances basically mean they come from animals. If you haven't watched my video, please do tune in and you'll learn a lot more about animalic fragrances, which includes ambergris plus, you know, civet and castoreum and deer musk and hyrax, all of those notes. So those are the differences between the two. They smell nothing alike, amber and ambergris, but the experience is ambery. So you're wearing amber, which is basically coming from the different notes to create this amber accord. It's warm and cozy and gooey and, you know, syrupy, honeyed kind of an experience. Whereas on the other hand, ambergris, you know, has other touches. It's animalic, first of all. It goes kind of goes into like an aquatic direction because obviously it's washed up, it's in the sea, and you know, it has powdery touches, but it's mostly, it's an ambery experience, but that's the kind of ambery experience it is, versus on the amber side, which with the amber accord, it's very, very gooey, it's syrupy, it's honeyed, and I like that. I like that stuff. I like sweet vanillic fragrances, and I can tolerate the ambergris a little bit. And sometimes you find ambergris in amber fragrances, like the stuff that features a vanilla. But I think for me, I prefer the amber over the ambergris. What do you guys like of these two notes? Do you prefer ambergris, or maybe you don't even prefer ambergris or amber, but you prefer ambroxan? Let me know. So those are the differences between amber and ambergris and how they smell. Now I'm going to tell you about some fragrances that you might like. I will start with the ambers. So we're going to start off right off the top with a fragrance that focuses on labdanum. Now, labdanum is one of the main ingredients to create the amber accord. It's from the rock rose. Labdanum is the star here in Laudanum Nero. Black labdanum is, I think, what it stands for, or maybe smoky, or you know, I think it's a night labdanum. I think it's basically dark labdanum. But here it's an amber fragrance, but it's a dark and smoky, ashy amber fragrance, and the star of the show is labdanum. Loads of labdanum here with boozy touches of cognac. There's oud, there's tobacco. Of course, there's amber, there's labdanum, loads of ash. There's a little bit of oak and honey, and a little bit of a green touch with wormwood. It's a unique amber fragrance. As I said, it's very, very smoky. It's very, very ashy. A lot of people connect this with Black Afghano. Maybe the inspiration was there, but I feel like for me, the experiences are completely different. I don't get the smoky ash that I get here in Black Afghano. So for me, they're different, but I can see that kind of like similarities in the inspiration. But I really do love this one for its darkness, the smokiness. If you've ever smelled actual resin of the Labdanum, it's smoky, and the smokiness here kind of reminds me of that fragrance. So this is a great fragrance for an amber lover, but it's not your typical gooey amber that I was telling you that I'm really a fan of. It's not necessarily like a syrupy kind of an amber, warm and gooey, you know, honeyed. It's a darker experience, but the star of the show is the Labdanum. That's why it's called Laudanum Nero. So that's from Tiziana Terenzi. This next one is a fragrance, probably one of my very first true authentic amber fragrance purchases dating back to 2011. This is Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan right here. And for me, this one is a great amber fragrance. It's a very green amber fragrance because here there's major doses of aromatic oregano and loads of bay leaf. The bay leaf and the oregano are very aromatic and green and herbal, which I really love. And it's nicely contrasted with resins because this one says there's loads of resins. It does say there's amber, which we're gonna get from the, you know, Labdanum, along with the other resinous notes and vanillic notes and things like that. It says there's sandalwood, there's coriander, vanilla, and oregano. Oregano we already mentioned, but this is a great amber. It's a great and really sexy amber. One thing I forgot to mention, that ambers can go powdery a little bit, and I can definitely experience that here a little bit, even in the Laudanum Nero. But you know, you still have that warm, gooey touch here, the gooiness of the amber accord that we have here. But there is a kind of a powdery, you know, experience about it. Anyway, that's Ambre Sultan from Serge Lutens. A great scent. If you like ambers, you gotta try that one. Now, this next one is from the house of Tolu Cabanel. This is BARKHANE. This one right here. So BARKHANE is a very resinous, very ambery amber fragrance. BARKHANE is loads of myrrh, and I mentioned myrrh as one of the notes or ingredients that could be featured in an amber accord. This one has loads of myrrh. This one has loads of myrrh, but it also has Labdanum. I mentioned the Labdanum, and Labdanum is the rock rose. As I said, there's tonka beans, there's vanilla. Now this one has a unique touch here. It has a curry tree touch. So patchouli, oud, and cumin. This is so good, guys. If you like ambers a lot and you've tested a lot of different amber fragrances and you haven't tried this one, definitely add it to your you know, to sample list, because it's very unique. I mean, in the end, it's actually an amber like the other ambers that you might like, but you know, with the subtle twists here with that cumin and that curry tree note, it's for a fine wearing experience. I love this one in the cold days because it smells fantastic. Once again, it's that warm and gooey kind of an experience, but with a powdery you know, touch that typically is found in amber fragrances. Anyway, that's BARKHANE from Tolu Cabanel. Now this next one, everyone knows about it. It's probably one of the most popular fragrances in fragrance community. This is Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So this one actually is such a sexy fragrance. It is really a very warm and cozy fragrances. It's just a fine example of a very, I don't want to use the word mass, because I feel like a lot of people that are not into like the niche fragrances kind of like embrace this one. This house is very loved, I think, and the Grand Soir is a great fragrance, don't get me wrong, but I feel like sometimes it could be maybe a little on the mass side, and that's not in a negative way. I'm just saying it's like it's very easy to wear, but it's a fine example of a great amber fragrance. Loads of amber here with benzoin, vanilla, tonka beans, and Labdanum. And those are the notes I mentioned. Benzoin, I mentioned, is one of the notes that goes in to create the amber accord. The vanilla, the tonka, the Labdanum. So basically that's what we're wearing here. This is a great fragrance, and I love the way it smells. It's just, you know, very cozy and comfortable, and really relaxing. Warm and gooey. delicious fragrance. Grand Soir from Maison France's KURKDJIAN it's just to die for a fragrance. This next one is probably one of the most popular amber fragrances, Ambre Presso, but I'm giving you the ultime version. And Ambre Presso is from the house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier, and it's a spicy take on amber. It's very, very warm and gooey, but also very, very powdery at the same time. And this one focuses on loads of myrrh with amber, Tolu vanilla labdanum, lavender comes in, gives it an aromatic touch. There are some smoky touches with incense, but Peru Balsam and nutmeg and tonka also come in. It's a really, really beastly experience. I think probably next to the BARKHANE, this is the beastliest, and also the Labdanum Nero. But if you like an intense, spicy, resinous, gooey, powdery, ambery experience, you gotta try Maître Parfumeur Gantier Ambre Presso Ultime. It's a great, great scent, guys. The original is also great. I love it, but I also love the Ultime version. And last but not least, in the amber side, not the ambergris side, I'm going to talk to you about a fragrance called Tolu from Ormonde JAYNE. Remember I said Tolu Balsam is one of the notes that could be used to create the amber accord, and here it's the star of the show. This is loads of Tolu Balsam, and I love this note. It's really, really wonderful. But the way that Ormonde JAYNE does fragrances is they do everything classy and very sophisticated and also very, very elegant. So if everything that I've spoken to you about is like overdose of too much notes in a fragrance, you can bet that Tolu from Ormonde JAYNE, just like their other fragrances, is a very, very classy experience. Nothing is overdone. It's not like intense. It's not overwhelming. Everything in the notes here is just the right amount to create a great, great wearing experience where it's not light, also it's not overwhelming. But this one is loads of Tolu Balsam, amber, tonka, orange blossom, olibanum with a little bit of a smoky incense, frankincense touch, juniper, orchid, and rose. It's very, very sexy. It's a very, very wonderful fragrance. It's like when I want something that's warm and gooey, but not overwhelming, because the remainder of the fragrances I spoke to you about are very big and intense. I mean, some have more intensity than others. This one is just the right amount of intensity and the right amount of warm and gooey. It's a great scent. This is Tolu from Ormonde JAYNE. You should definitely check it out if you like amber fragrances, but you feel like amber fragrances can be just overwhelmingly sweet. So on to the ambergris side, guys. Ambergris, as I said, is from the whale. It's excreted. It's a byproduct of the whale, and we've got 6 fragrances here that focus on ambergris. And we're going to start the first fragrance with a fragrance from the house of INITIO Parfums, and these are from the Magnetic Blends collection. This is Magnetic Blend number 1, which focuses on ambergris. They have 3 of these magnetic blend fragrances at INITIO Parfums, and each one is a different note. This one is ambergris. They have a musk, and they also have an incense woody magnetic blend, and they're made to enhance their other fragrances or other fragrances from other brands. And this one focuses mostly on ambergris with amber, so it's an ambery experience with ambergris. This one does get animalic. On me, it does go animalic. It starts off very sexy, musky, but on my with my chemistry, the animalic parts about the ambergris really pump out and they get a little overwhelming. But this isn't a subtle experience. It's not an overwhelming experience, but the animalic parts, even though they're subtle, they do pop out and you do experience, and if you're offended with those kind of smells, you might stay away. But ambergris doesn't smell fecal or anything like that, as we discussed in my animalic fragrances video with notes of civet and hyrax. Just there's something different about ambergris. It's an ambery experience, of course, but there's this like slight aquatic type of animalic touch running throughout the fragrance with anything featuring ambergris, and that's very, very prominent here. Again, this fragrance I could use on its own as long as I'm fine with the animalic touches, but it's really nicely enhanced with other fragrances. That's why this is called Magnetic Blends, so that it's Magnetic Blends because you can blend it with other fragrances. If you like a little animalic touch of ambergris with your fragrances, then this is something to do to it, like to add to your fragrances, your favorite fragrances, or wear it on its own. Anyway, this is Magnetic Blends number 1 with ambergris. That's great. It's a great scent. Just gets a little overly animalic on me with the ambergris, so I like to blend it with some other fragrances. Now I would blend that with something like Baccarat Rouge, because Baccarat Rouge, even though they say it's ambergris, I believe it's ambroxan. So add that to that and see how it works. It might work really wonderfully. So this next one is from the house of ACQUA de Parma, and this is AMBRA. So in the end, this is an amber fragrance, but it's amber with ambergris, and so it has these slight aquatic animalic touches, but it's very ambery at the same time. So it's a very, very unique concoction to me. I had a difficult time with this fragrance because they launched this, they first launched the oud, then they launched the leather, and then they launched Ambra, and I went to it and I was like, okay, this is a different amber. Why are they calling it Ambra? You know, I had to do my research and learn that it was ambergris, not your typical amber, you know, with the notes of, you know, resins and balsams and vanilla to make this. Even though they have that here, plus the ambergris is combined in it. So you have a bit of an aquatic animalic touch along with your typical ambergris notes of like vanilla and resins and balsams. So it's a very unique concoction to me. You know, some people are more sensitive to certain notes than others. You might not experience the ambergris so strong, but for me, I find it to be definitely strong. It's basically what's running the fragrance. It's all about the ambergris. So that is ACQUA de Parma Ambra. It's a great amber, don't get me wrong, but as I said, it took a while for me to get into that one. This next one is from the house of the Harmonist. This is Sacred Water. Sacred Water is an aquatic. Here we have aquatic touches with ambergris, and of course, as I mentioned, ambergris comes from the sperm whale. It's washed up and has an aquatic smell, so they've combined sea notes or marine notes here with ambergris, so it does get animalic. There's also seaweed, mint, woods, and aldehyde. I don't know what's the deal with this fragrance, but there are smoky touches running throughout it. It almost smells like there's incense. I don't know where it's coming from. On me, it smells like a church service happening that's right on the water. I don't know if you guys ever been to Mont Saint-Michel in France, which is, there's a church up there and it's right on the water, and the smell of the air is like sea and aquatic, and you could smell the church incense as well. It kind of reminds me of that, like I'm there and I'm at a church service and I'm smelling the sea air. It's kind of what it reminds me of. So it's an acquired taste, I think. This one's different. You gotta like seawater, you've gotta like seaweed, and you've gotta like ambergris, and that, you know, smoky touches comes in. Very, very unique fragrance. I really love it, and I think the incensey touches are coming from woods. There's mention of woody notes or woods in here, and I think those woodsy notes or woody notes are a bit on the smoky side. Anyway, that's the Harmonist Sacred Water featuring ambergris. Now this one is a fragrance I spoke to you about in the animalic fragrances video. This is Walk the Sea from Kerosene, and this one is a major dose of ambergris, loads of it, and it's very, very animalic. And this is a very, very dark fragrance for an aquatic because it's very aquatic. There's sea salt here, there's white flowers, there's also musk and cedar. It's woody, but there's a very aromatic quality to this. I feel like there's sea herbs or something running throughout the fragrance as well. But in the end, it gets very dark and smoky when I'm wearing it. The ambergris pops and it becomes very smoky, powdery, and also very, very ambery. It's an ambergris amber experience, but also, as I said, very aquatic, very salty, and animalic. Anyway, that's Kerosene's Walk the Sea, and a unique experience for a ambergris fragrance, although I would say unique but not overly unique. So this next one is from the house of Francesca Bianchi. This is Sex and the Sea. Here, going into a very, very ambery direction. In fact, I feel like this could go into the amber direction, but this is all about ambergris with amber. But here, it's a very, very gooey, very, very syrupy amber with loads of ambergris. It's animalic. There's animalic touches. So it's ambergris, there's pineapple, there's coconut, mimosa, iris. It's a very, very yummy fragrance, and it's that unique kind of a beachy fragrance that, you know, the coconut adds that, you know, kind of suntan lotiony beachy experience, but you know, you've got the ambergris and they're giving it its slight animalic twist to the fragrance with the pineapple and the fruity touches from that. Anyway, Sex and the Sea is a very, very unique fragrance for an ambergris fragrance. If you like ambergris and you want fruity, suntan lotiony kind of a touch, then you should definitely check out Sex and the Sea. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today that features ambergris is Anonyme Golden Ambergris. It's part of a trio of fragrances from Anonyme with black ambergris, silver ambergris, and of course golden. Golden seems to have the most dosage of ambergris. Loads of it. It's very, very animalic. It's the most animalic ambergris here. Overly animalic. Like it's, I can't tolerate this one. It's just a really, really major dose of animalic touches here. If you like ambergris and animalic fragrances, you have to try this one. But this one features loads of ambergris with orris, leather, sandalwood, and spices. Yeah. Very, 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 very animalic. So animalic, even out of the bottle. Sometimes you can smell something out of the bottle, it doesn't go animalic, but when you wear it, it's animalic. And when I can smell it here, on me, it's going to be even 10 times or 100 times stronger. But you know, as I said, ambergris has very, very animalic touches, and with golden ambergris from Anonyme, you do experience it really, really fully. And you've got to really appreciate ambergris in its most animalic forms to appreciate this. Black ambergris from this collection is my favorite. It's a slightly gourmand ambergris, but here it's ambergris in your face. Anyway, that's Anonyme Golden Ambergris. So anyway, guys, I hope you understand the differences between amber and ambergris. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. And once again, I want to let you know about my t-shirts. This is the second t-shirt now after Forever Vetiver, right here. I've got two full-on notes focused t-shirt, although there's a bunch more. Once if you go to the link with the t-shirts, you'll see that there's a lot more t-shirts there that I'm adding. I haven't really announced, but if you go to the link, you'll find more t-shirts. I have one about oak moss that I'll announce very soon because I have to order them and bring them on. There's another one about aromatic fougères. Just a bunch of different t-shirts, and also some unique things like mugs and things like that. So if you're curious and want something quirky like the ambergris alert, as you can see, as I said, the whale is pooping, I would highly recommend you go check it out. And one last thing I want to say, if you have any ideas, please do send me an email of t-shirt ideas to lfsgquestions@gmail.com. And not only for t-shirts ideas, but you can also send me questions about videos that you'd like me to create on specific topics and things like that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's videos. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.